So I'm going to give you a case study from counseling, just real quick. As a counselor, I take confidentiality very seriously, and I can't even confirm whether somebody is a client without their permission. All right. So when I use case studies, I do everything necessary to protect the identity of the individual, and also know this, that I will never use a case study of somebody who is currently a part of the congregation. Okay? I take it very seriously. So let's look at this case study now about courage. It actually begins with anger. Okay? Many of you heard me say a couple weeks ago that anger can actually mask things like disappointment, hurt, and fear, which is why we're going to look at it now, because the fear was creating cowardice in somebody. I was in this counseling session, and the person comes to me and says, Jesse, I am really distraught. Oh, okay, why is that? Because I'm a Christian, and I hate somebody. Okay, well, that's good you recognize that. Well, tell me about that. Well, the Bible says I shouldn't hate anybody, I should love people, but I hate this person. Okay, why do you hate them? I don't know. I don't know why I hate them, I just hate them. Okay, well, oftentimes hatred falls under the umbrella of anger, okay? So tell me, did this person disappoint you somehow? Well, no, they're just an acquaintance. I barely know them. Okay, did they hurt you somehow? No, like I said, I barely know them. Is there something about them you fear? No, I barely know them, right? I said, okay, well, I think I've got this figured out. What? What's going on? I just said no to all of your questions. What do you mean you've just got this figured out? Okay, so here's what's going on. You have fear in your life, but not about them. What's happening, I think, is that whenever they're around, it's like this mirror on yourself. And there's something in them that you see as good, and you see as, that's who I could be, that's who I should be, that's who I need to be, and yet it's shining a light on that, which makes you feel insecure. And then you project those feelings onto the other person and hate that. Boom! Like, they went, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I'm doing. And I know exactly what it is too. I'm like, wow, okay, that's great. And they go, what do I do now? Well, you've recognized it. That's the first step. You've got to recognize it. And you have to have the courage to recognize it. You have to have the courage to recognize it. So here's something interesting. The client was actually being cowardly originally. They didn't want to look at their own insecurities and feelings and shortcomings, okay? And that caused a problem for them. And so then they were actually acting out of rashness as well. They were doing both extremes. One, they were a coward, they didn't want to look at their own life, and then they were acting rashly, just kind of being angry at the other person. But the anger was masking the fear they had about looking at their own insecurities and their own emotions. And so this is a very specific example of this concept, but this applies across a whole bunch of things. And this is why courage is so important in the Christian walk, because we do this kind of stuff all the time. So do you have the courage to look inside and to see what's not like Jesus yet?